Hello guys, today we are going to do a blue-green deployment update. That means imagine an application which is live and running, and it is configured in such a way that it can be updated without any downtime. Okay, we have an application of this nature, and we can update it to change to a different application without any downtime. We want to move from this application to this application. Okay, we are looking at, you have an application that is first of all demonstrating that it is in the blue environment. We consider the blue environment as a legacy environment, and then we are going to update this application live using blue-green deployment, and the application will pass from this and it will become this. Okay, this is a job that we are going to do in this project. It is a project that is going to involve Kubernetes, it is going to involve Terraform, it's going to involve Docker, and it is going to involve a lot of configurations which you are going to find interesting, and you are going to learn a lot going through this particular project. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. So to begin, here is what we are going to have. We're going to have something of this nature. We're going to create an EC2 instance. In that EC2 instance, we are going to use this EC2 instance as our working instance to install Docker. The reason why we are going to use this instance, you will see, is just because I don't have Docker installed on my physical laptop. We could have still done this directly through our physical laptop if you have Docker installed. So I'm going to spin up an EC2 instance, where in that instance I am going to create a directory for the project. This directory will be existing, and inside that directory I'm going to create two different directories. Thus I'm going to create one directory which is for the blue environment, and I'm going to create a second directory for the green environment. In the directory for the blue environment, I will have the code, the Docker file, and the image. And the directory for the green environment, I'll have the code for the application, the Docker file, and the image. Okay, and then in my local machine, in my laptop, I'm going to have a folder where all these files will be put inside. That folder will contain two deployment files. One deployment file will be for the blue environment, the other deployment file will be for the green environment. Then we'll have a service. Now we are going to deploy our EKS using Terraform. Okay, so we'll have another folder that contains all the Terraform files. So generally we are going to use Docker Hub as our repository for our images. So when we convert our application into an image, we are going to send that application to Docker Hub here. Okay, it is from this Docker Hub that we are going to deploy to EKS. Now we should first of all launch the creation of the EKS cluster, because the EKS cluster takes about 15 minutes to get completely created. So let us launch the creation of the EKS cluster, and then while the EKS cluster is being created, we are configuring our files. Okay, so let us set up the Terraform files to launch the EKS cluster. So the first thing is we go to our local machine, we create the project folder. So let me create the project folder in our local machine. I have my Kubernetes where I keep all my Kubernetes project. So let me create a folder. This folder I'm going to call Kube project. Okay, now in Kube project I'm going to open it. The first thing I want to do is I want to bring in the Terraform files. Okay, I want to bring in the Terraform files. So there is this Terraform file that I've already prepared for you. Let me check. So I'm going to share to you this Terraform code. So the code contains, we are going to open the code. It contains, this is the data, this is the main file, the main.tf file, the providers.tf file, and the variable.tf file. We are going to go through the code and see exactly what the code does. Okay, so our Terraform file is prepared. This is our Terraform file. Remember, we said our Terraform file is going to have the main, the variable, and the provider. So when we look here, we discover that our Terraform file is having both the main, the variables, the providers, and there is this data one. Okay, these are the most important files that we need in order to launch our EKS. So let's see what these files are all about. So in order to see it, let's open the files in our Visual Studio. You just select the file and then you open. Okay, here are our files that we have. Okay, now in these files, the main file is this main.tf file. I shall tell you how I configured this file. Okay, let's just go through what this main.tf file does. It creates, there is a module, a VPC module that it is going to create. So it is going to create a VPC. Okay, it's going to create a VPC from the module my app/VPC. It's a module that is already existing, and the name of that VPC will be my app VPC. Okay, it is going to have a CIDR that is available in this variable dot. These CIDRs are available, okay, that have been called at the level of this main. The CIDRs have been called here. If you know Terraform, you understand how to call your variables to your main. And there is a NAT gateway that is going to be created there, and then the EKS cluster is going to be a shared cluster. Then this is the EKS module. It is going to evoke the EKS module here, and it is going to create our EKS with 3 instances. Our EKS is going to be created with 3 nodes there, and it is going to be dynamically available. The nodes are going to be of type T2 small. Okay, and the rule here permits us to interact with our EKS cluster and our applications to interact with our EKS cluster. That is mostly about the EKS script. And then we have the providers. This is just the provider, the Terraform provider for the HashiCorp for AWS. And then we have the variables. This is where we have kept all our variables here. Nothing extraordinary, just simple Terraform. We did not want to use an extra file to be providing variables, so we just use the variables.tf file to provide our variables here. So there is one important thing I would like to talk about in this file, in this Terraform file. The first thing is, be careful of your default region. If you are not deploying in this region, make sure you configure this particular place. Put the particular region where you are deploying. That's the very first thing. Okay, and then the second thing is, come to the main.tf and then you climb up here here like this. If you see what I've done here, I've put region var.aws.region, and which is referring to this particular region down here. Okay, so I am going to be deploying on US East 1. Okay, now question: how will Terraform know? How will Terraform know the particular account that you want to deploy your application to, your AWS account where you want to deploy your application to? How will Terraform know that particular account? Because here we can just start running Terraform init, Terraform apply, and it will deploy. But how will Terraform know that particular account where you want to deploy your application to? Look at this profile. This profile here, Terraform user. Okay, this profile here, Terraform user. You come to your AWS. Of course, you already know. Excuse me. Let me launch back. Since I was. Okay, when you come to your account, you click on your account name here. You are going to generate your security credentials. Okay, when you generate your security credentials, like for me, here are my credentials here. I have my access key and secret access key. Okay, these are my access key and my secret access key. So this access key and your secret access key, where are we going to use it? Come to just click on your PC, click on the C drive, click on users, click on the name of your PC, and then go to .aws. Now you will see these two files. These two files are there. The first file is the credential file. Okay, the first file is the credential file. Let me open the credential files for you to see. If I open the credentials file, you will discover that this file has the access key ID that I showed you, right? This is the access key ID that I showed you, and my secret access key. This is my secret access key, which is the key that when you generate from Terraform, from AWS here, a key will be given to you. So you configure this particular you write your access AWS access key ID here, and then you put in your secret access key, and then you put this square bracket, and then you put the name that you want to use up here. Put the name that you want to use up here. Now it is this name that you want to use up here that you are going to copy the name now from here, and then you come and put it here, Terraform user. In that way, you are not putting your credentials directly into your Terraform file. It is a way of hiding your credentials directly from Terraform, rather than putting your secret access key and access key ID directly in plain text. This is a way of hiding your secret so that they are not in your Terraform file. Okay, now the next thing is there was another file. That is the config file. So we have the credential files and the config files in that .aws folder. Let's open this .config file. In the .config file, you still have Terraform user in square bracket. Now there you are going to specify your region, which is US East 1. okay, and then you are going to specify your output. Make sure this region is specified there. Okay, that is the configuration you need to do at the level of your computer. This is the configuration you need to do at the level of your machine. Okay, so this one is the one by default, so you can delete this one. You need to put this one there. It should be there like this, so that your application should be there, your EKS should be deployed in US East 1. So that is all about the configuration with respect to Terraform. The next thing for us to do is we are good to go. There is nothing to do with this Terraform folder. Everything is configured for you to deploy your application as it is supposed to be. Remember, our configuration, our secret key and our secret access key is pointing to our account. Okay, that's the reason for our secret key and our secret access key. It is pointing to our account. So at this level, let us open a terminal. You click on these three dots, you open a terminal, run a terminal, new terminal, and here we are going to initialize our Terraform. Okay, waiting for our terminal to open up. Our terminal is up, so run Terraform init to initialize Terraform and download our plugins. So our plugins are being downloaded and the back end is being initialized. Look at this .terraform file. It was not there, now it has been created. So run our Terraform init is being run. I have all the various steps prepared for you here. Where are they? I have all the various steps prepared for you here. So we should, number one, they are all together about how many steps that you're going to follow. Close to 12 different steps that you're going to follow. So the first thing is launch your AWS EKS cluster. So we'll do this as early so that the cluster takes 15 minutes to get launched, so that while the cluster is running, we are going through the other activities. So let's check if our init has finished. Our init is still running. Okay, while our Terraform init is running, let's come back to our folder. Let's come out from the Terraform folder. We are in our local machine here. We are in our local machine, and what did we say was supposed to be in our local machine? In our local machine, we had to create the blue deployment.yaml and the green deployment.yaml and the service.yaml, but we cannot do this right now, because in order for this deployment to be created, we need the image of the application that is going to be used for this deployment. So let us keep our local machine for now. Let us go and create now our EC2 instance in the cloud, where we are going to create our blue.html application, create a Docker file for it, and then dockerize it into an image, and then create a Docker hub, and then push the image to Docker hub. So let's go do that. Let's check first of all if our HashiCorp is initialized. Not yet initialized. So we go over to AWS, and we go to EC2. We create an instance in EC2 where we are going to call it Docker instance. The reason for this instance is just to install Docker and perform Dockerization of our application. So we are going to use Ubuntu. we select our key pair, and then we come down, we select an existing security group. There is a security group that has all the ports open. I think this is cool for us. Let us launch our instance. Okay, our instance is launched. Let's check our Terraform init. It is installing all the various plugins that are necessary for Terraform to be run. Not quite sure why it's taking a lot of time. Let's be patient. Okay, our Docker instance is running. Let us connect to our Docker instance. Take note of something. Only one instance is available here. When we are going to create our Kubernetes cluster, 3 other instances are going to add here. Okay, so let's connect to our Docker instance. I'll use git bash to connect. Okay, let us update our instance. And then let us install Docker. So we are going to have our instance updated and Docker installed. All right, when we do this now, what have we done? We have created an instance and we have installed Docker. So let us create now a folder, a directory called project directory. So we go to our folder, we make directory called project, just call it project. If we run ls now, we'll see that we have a project directory. So we enter cd into our project directory, and then we create. There is nothing in our project directory, so inside this project directory, so here is what we have done. We have created this directory here. The directory here is the project directory here, like this. This is the directory we have called project. Now inside this directory we have blue directory and green directory. Okay, so let's go inside the directory and create now the blue directory and the green directory. So we are here. Let's create mkdir blue. Let's just call it blue in capital letters. Sudo mkdir blue, and run ls now. You see that we have a blue, and then we run again sudo mkdir green. So we have created 2 directory, the blue and the green directory. So run ls here, we have the blue and the green directory. Okay, all right, the first thing we are going to do is let us cd inside the blue directory. We cd into the blue directory, and then we run ls here. Nothing is found inside our blue directory. What is going to be inside this directory? The thing that is going to be inside this blue directory is going to be, first of all, our application code. We want our application code to be there. When we get our application code there, then we are going to create a Docker file that will dockerize this application code and convert the application code into an image. Remember, what is a Docker file? A Docker file is a file that stands in the middle here, and the Docker file takes an artifact. A Docker file takes an artifact from here and convert that artifact into an image. So a Docker file is like a converter. It takes an artifact or a code, and then it converts that code into an image. So this is a Docker file. This is the job of a Docker file. Okay, Docker file. It takes the code or the artifact. It either takes the code or the artifact and then convert it into an image. That is the job of the Docker file. Okay, so the first thing we should have is our code or our artifact. So we are in the blue deployment, so let us go to our blue deployment. Let's go to our blue. Let us check if our Terraform has initialized correctly. The next thing we have to do is, after we run Terraform init, now the next thing is run Terraform plan. Okay, technically the plan to will take a longer period of time. I'm sure it's because it has been months I have not rebooted my PC. So while we wait for Terraform plan to plan the deployment, let us go back to our code. Okay, we are in the blue section. So here in the blue section, what do we need to do? We need to create this application blue.html. So let us create the file blue.html. All the steps are here. We said update your EC2. We have updated EC2. Install Docker in EC2 instance, sudo apt install Docker. We've done that. Create a directory named project directory. We have created that directory. Now create a file named blue.html. So let us create this file blue.html in the blue directory. Okay. So let us go to the blue directory and clear blue.html. Go here, v blue.html. Okay, now where is the code that we want to paste here? I have a code for you. I have a code that I prepared for you, the code of an application. Let me lay hands on that code. It's a code that I developed from ChatGPT. So anybody, you can go. It's just a code that deploys a color background. Okay, here is my code blue. Okay, this is the code for blue. What does this code do? It's just a simple HTML code that I asked ChatGPT to deploy for me, to develop for me. I'll show you what the code does in a moment. So we take this code, we paste here. Okay, here is the code pasted here. Right, we save. and quit. Blue.html, continue. Okay. I opened it in a lower credentials. So what we have to do is we have to go to higher credentials. We need to be root user in order to perform some actions. So go to sudo su that, okay, ls that we are searching for cd2 ubuntu /home it should be cd2 home /ubuntu ls. Now we get our project. Now we can cd2 our project ls. Now we can cd2 blue ls. So we are in blue, so we can run now. We are having the sudo privileges. We can run now v blue dot html. Now here, let us copy our code. I'll show you what the code does. Copy this code. I'll give you all the code, guys, don't worry. Copy our code and we paste here. Now we save and quit. Okay, here is what the code does. Take a look at the code. Here's the blue. This is what the code doing. It will show you a blue environment. This is how the code will present itself. Okay, all right. Now we have the code. If we run ls here, we have the blue.html, which is the first thing we are supposed to have here, blue.html. So what about the Docker file? So let's create a Docker file. Before creating the Docker file, let's check on our Terraform. It has already initialized. It says it is planning to create 58 resources. So let us run Terraform apply. So this one is going to take close to 15 minutes for the apply to take place. Okay, so while we wait for the apply to continue, let's go ahead and create our Docker file. Remember, we are here. We want to create this Docker file. So in order to create a Docker file, we run v docker file. it should have no extension. Okay, so we have the code for our Docker file. Here is the code for our Docker file. Here we are going to see what this code does. Copy the code, come here, click, we paste. Now look at what the code does. From Tomcat as latest, the code is searching for the server Tomcat, right? It's searching for the web server Tomcat, which is going to be latest, and then it is going to be copying blue.html, the file that we just created, blue.html. It is going to copy that everything into that file into Tomcat, this directory. Okay, and then it is going to expose our Tomcat at 8080. So we are going to get access to our application through 8080. This is the image. Our image port is going to be 8080. That is what the code does. Okay, now what do we have here? We have our image, our Docker file is present, our code is present, so we can now use our code and change our code into an image. Like here we said a Docker file transforms a Docker code or artifact into an image. All right, so let us come here. If you discover that here, if you run docker image ls, you discover that you have no image. Okay, there is no image that you have. Okay, now how do you create an image? The command to build an image is docker build -t. You are tagging the image. Let's build it. Since it is a website that just displays the background, let's call the website display, right? Let's call the application display. When you put display, you put your version, right? The version is, let's put blue. The version is blue underscore v1, version 1.0. right? We are running docker build -t display. The version is blue v version 1.0. okay, now we build. Okay, we forgot an extra thing. We needed to add a point, a dot at the end. So our image is being built. Okay, our image has been built. Now if we run docker image ls, we'll discover that we have two images. We have the display images, the display image that we just built, and then we have the Tomcat image that we downloaded. Remember that in our Docker file we had from Tomcat, so our base image was Tomcat, so we had the Tomcat image that we downloaded, and then we have the display image which is tagged as blue version 1.0. okay, so now that we have this Docker image here, what is the next thing that we are going to do with this Docker image? The Docker image is already available here, so let us push the Docker image to Docker Hub. But before we push the Docker image to Docker Hub, what are we going to do? First of all, you have to sign into Docker Hub and create a repository in Docker Hub. So let us go to Docker Hub and create a repository. Let us go to Docker Hub. I have already signed in into my Docker Hub. I think for those of you who do not know how to sign into your Docker Hub, you just go to Docker Hub, and you are going to see sign in. Can I sign out to sign in? I mean, you should know how to sign into Docker Hub. It is as easy, fairly easy. So I'll just go to create repository. Okay, create repository in Docker Hub. I create a repository. Here is my repository. I'm going to put the name cube/project. That is the name of the project that we are building, cube/project. You can give the description of your project. For time's sake, I'm going to allow the project public. Project is a public project, and then I create. Okay, now my repository is created. As my repository is created, to push images to my repository, this is the command that I will need to use. Okay, but this thing is a bit tricky. You cannot just use this command like this to push the images. The first thing you have to do is, in your command line, you have to do two things. The first thing is you have to log into your repository through your command line. How do you log into your repository through your command line? There is a command to log into your repository directly from your command line. That command is docker login -u for username, which my username is Clemerangs, and then -p for password, and my password is then I click enter. You see login succeeded. Okay, login succeeded. Now I have logged in to my Docker Hub. Okay, the next thing is I have to tag the image. If I run docker image ls, this image is having this name display and tagged blue_v1.0, right? But I cannot push this image with this name display when my Docker repository is having the name Clemerangs/cube project. I have to tag the Docker image with the name of the repository. Take this very seriously. I have to tag the Docker image with the name of the repository. How do I tag the Docker image with the name of the repository? This is the Docker image. The Docker image is display, and its tag is blue_v1.0. So in order to tag this image, I have to run the command docker image tag, right? When I run docker image tag, I give the name of the initial image that I have, which is display, right? Display blue_v1.0. That's the first thing. That is, you run the docker image tag, give the name and the tag that you first of all had, then space, give space, then now you give now your repository name, which my repository name is Clemerangs, right, /cube project, right? Then now I put colon blue_v1.0. Now take care, docker image tag, you give the name, the display name that you gave from your display, from your image. When you are creating your image, you give the name and the tag up here, then you give a space, you give now the name of your repository, colon, just now the tag, just this tag that you had up here, just this tag up here, no more the name display again, just the tag. Okay, I have in my notes I explained that how to tag the image very well for you. There is an explanation that I've given to you how you can do in order to tag the image, tag your image. NB tagging an image is tricky. You first of all have to, so this explanation is there for you to understand exactly how to tag your image. Okay, you read through it. So let us execute. So our image is tagged. So if I run now docker ls docker image, please, docker image ls, I see now that I have an image called Clemerance/cube project. You see the name of the image is called Clemerance/cube project and the tag is blue_version 1.0. Now I can push this image to my Docker hub. Okay, how can I push the image to my Docker hub? I can just say docker push, right? Then I give the name of my image, which is Clemerance/cube project blue_version 1.0. Now the image is being pushed to my repository. The image has been pushed to my repository. Let me go now back to my repository. I refresh my repository. When I refresh my repository, what do I see? I see an image called blue_version 1.0, right? This is a repository called blue_version 1.0. So if I click here, I will see the path to my image, which is this, right? That is an image that I have built and put in Docker Hub. Okay, now remember that we had our EKS. Oh gosh, we needed to answer yes for it to create, and as I said, it is going to take as long as 15 minutes to create. So we are going to it is creating now our cluster. It is creating our cluster now. So while it is creating our cluster, let's go ahead. So our image is now found in Docker Hub. Okay, let's see where we are right now. We have created an image called an application called blue.html. We have created a Docker file for that application. We have dockerized that image and that file, and we are having a Docker image. We have tagged the image. We have pushed the image to Docker Hub, right? I mean, the job of this blue section has been completed. Let us come now to the job of this other machine. Now here, what are we going to do? We are going to create these three files. Okay, for now we are going to create just the three files actually, and the first file will be the blue deployment.yaml. Okay, so we are presently in our machine. So let us open our project. Here is our project. Let us open our git bash here. So in our machine, the first thing we are going to do is create the file blue deployment.yaml. Okay, so here are our notes. We have pushed Docker image to repository. Create namespace in EKS called blue green deployment. We are going to create a namespace in EKS when EKS is fully functional. EKS is not yet functional. Now create a deployment YAML. excuse, create a deployment YAML called blue deployment.yaml. So this is our command, blue deployment.yaml. We copy, we come to our machine, we paste here, vim blue deployment.yaml. So we are expected to open this. You come to your notes, let us copy this YAML file, and we paste here. Okay, what is it doing? What is this file doing? The file has a name called demo app, right? The file, it is a kind deployment, it is a deployment object. The name of the deployment object is demo app slash blue, right? And the app is going to be called demo app. The environment is blue. It is going to have 3 replica ports, right? And so the ports must match their labels. That's why we have the same demo app for the ports and blue environment for the ports. It should match the label of the deployment. Okay, then we come down here, right down here. We are going to have some changes to be made. The containers the image that we need to deploy here. Which image do we need to deploy here? So we have to cancel this one. This is the configuration that you are going to make here, and then you go to your Docker hub. Remember that you just posted your Docker hub here. You copy this directory here. That is the image that you are going to use. And then you paste it here. So you are going to use the image blue version 1.0. That's the application image that you are going to use. Okay, all right, then now you can save and you quit. So if we run ls here now, we are going to see our deployment blue deployment.yaml. Okay, we cannot okay, let us create the green deployment.yaml. What are we going to run? We run vim green slash deployment.yaml. Now for green deployment.yaml, we are going to have the same thing, but the environments have changed. We are going to have the same thing, but the environments have changed. Look at what we are creating now. We have the same thing. It's a demo app. Now the environment is green, right? You see the environment now is green, and we match the labels very well. The ports are going to be called green, and then we come down to the image. Okay, for the first time we just have one application. Okay, we just have one application, and it is the blue application. Okay, so the blue application will be deployed in the 2 sites. This is our structure, please. This is the nature of our structure, right? Our structure is structured like this. We have excuse me, we have something like this, and then we are going to have something like this, and then we are going to have something like this, then that, and then this, and then our applications are going to be somewhere here and here. Okay, here we are going to have, we just have a new application. The new application will have both the blue application here, we have blue application here, and we will also have blue application here. Okay, because we just have version 1.0, so we are going to have blue application in the two sides. Okay, the first deployment, this is the first deployment blue, right? This is deployment blue, and this is deployment green. So we created two environment, blue and green. But for the first time, since we have only one version of our application, we have only blue underscore version 1.0. That's the only application that we have. So we are going to deploy both blue underscore version 1.0 in the blue environment and in the green environment. Okay, blue will be located in the blue environment and the green environment, and all of them will be made available. That is why we are going to come here again in our green environment. We are in our green environment. We are going to come down there, and we are going to change this, and we are still going to copy this, that is the blue environment, and we will paste it here. And we will save and quit. Now if we run ls, we are going to see that we have blue deployment, we have green deployment. The next thing that we have to do is we need to create a service.yaml. Okay, so let us go create a service.yaml. Vim service.yaml. Now in the service.yaml, we have this YAML configuration file that I prepared for you. Copy, paste. So this is a service. Okay, this is a Kubernetes service. It's an ingress. Okay, this is the ingress that we are going to be using, and this ingress is going to expose the application using the load balancer port. Okay, it's going to expose the application using load balancer. All right, so the ingress is going to have a selector. It either select a blue environment or it select a green environment. Okay, it is going to expose our application through port 8080. all right, so this is our ingress. We save and we quit. So we run ls now. We have our blue deployment, we have our green deployment, and we have our service.yaml. Okay, let's verify our Kubernetes is still being created. It is still being created. So we have to wait for our Kubernetes to finish its creation process. Okay, in any moment now our cluster will be completed. We see we have taken almost close to 15 minutes of time elapsed. Okay, apply complete, resources 58 added, and change 0, destroy 0. So our cluster is ready right now. Now if we can come to AWS, we will see that, come to instances, to instances, we'll see that there are 3 instances running, right? You remember that we created an instance to help us run our Docker machine. That instance, here it is, but there are other 3 dev instances that have been created. These instances are the Kubernetes nodes that have been created. Okay, so and a VPC also has been created for us. All the infrastructure for EKS has been created. Now our EKS has been created. Take a look here. Our EKS has been created. It is in AWS. Now we are in our machine. How do we get from our EKS to our machine? AWS is somewhere here. AWS is up there, and we have our machines with us down here. We have our machines here. So how do we move from AWS to our laptop? That is a question that we are asking, because we want to be running our kubectl on our laptops. How do we move from AWS to our laptop? There is a command that will help you remove a file. There is a file in AWS that has to be exported from AWS. That file has to be exported to your machine. That file must be exported to your machine, and it is going to be exported using a particular command. There is a command that you need to use in order to extract that file from AWS to your machine, so that now you can run kubectl get ports, kubectl get nodes, and all the rest from your normal machine. So how do we do that? Take a look. Right now we know that AWS has we have an infrastructure that has been installed, right? We have our cluster that has been installed. But if we run kubectl get ports, you will discover that nothing will happen. No port will be gotten. Okay, nothing is going to happen. Why is nothing happening? Because we have not yet done this activity like this. We have not yet removed this activity. What file are we going to remove? How is that file called? The file is called kubeconfig file. A kubeconfig file. What is the use of a kubeconfig file? You guys go and find out what the use of a kubeconfig file is. But to give you a heads up, it carries all your identification, all your tokens, all your certificates, so that you can be authorized to access this cluster. Okay, so that is the file that you are going to export to this your machine. So what is the command in order to export this file? Let us look at the way the command is structured. I gave you the command in your notes. Here is the command. The command is AWS. May increase the font size. Oh shit. AWS EKS update hyphen config kubeconfig, then hyphen region. Here you have to change and give your region, right? You must change these 2 things. The first thing is US East 1. You have to change it. Then hyphen name. You have to change this one. My app. You have to give the name of your own cluster. Okay, change your region, put your appropriate region, and change the name of your cluster and put the appropriate name for your cluster. Okay, so I can copy all these because I know my cluster is named my app and it is found in US East 1. Copy. Then I come here. I knew it was going to fail. I come here, I paste. Before I do this, first of all, please, before I do this, I have to first of all run AWS configure, right? so that I should be able to run commands in my CLI. So they are asking me to give my secret, my access key. Okay, so I have to provide my access key and my secret access key. Remember I told you that I already have my access key and my secret access key, and they are somewhere here. Let me open my access key and my secret access key. Here is my access key. Here it is. So I'll paste here, and then my secret access key, here it is. Copy it, and then I'll paste here. As for the region, I want US East 1, I'm okay with that. As for the output, I want text, I'm okay with that. Good, that one is done. The next thing now is to run the command which will permit me to export the file. This command, I run the command here. So this command is going to export my kubeconfig file. So it has exported my kubeconfig file. Where is the file located? The file is found in c users.kubeconfig.kube/config. So if I go to c users, this is my C drive, right? If I go to users, I go to my name, I will see .cube, I open it. This is a file, the config file. Okay, this is a file that carries now the information that can help me communicate with my cluster. So what can I run now? kubectl get port. If you have installed kubectl on your machine, you should make sure that you have installed kubectl on your machine. I can run kubectl get nodes. I should be able to get my notes. I have 3 nodes already. I remember I told you that we have these 3 nodes, dev nodes. These are the nodes that are already there. So I have my 3 nodes that are already ready for me. Okay, all right. Now we have our EKS which is ready for us to deploy our application. We have everything. We have our application ready, because if we run ls here, we have our blue deployment that is already ready. It is just waiting for us to deploy it right now. So we can deploy our blue deployment now. Let's go and see the command to deploy. Before we deploy, let us create a namespace. Let's deploy in a special namespace. So let us create a namespace. How do you create a new namespace? In order to create a new namespace, you run this command, kubectl create namespace. Our namespace will be blue green deployment. That's the name of our namespace. So let us create a new namespace. Our namespace is created. So if we can run now kubectl get namespace, we have our namespace blue green deployment namespace. So we are going to be deploying our applications, all of them, in this blue green deployment namespace. Okay, so the first thing is we want to deploy this blue green deployment.yaml. What is the command to deploy that application, blue green deployment.yaml? The command is kubectl apply -f blue green deployment.yaml -n. We are deploying in this particular namespace. Okay, so while we wait for the deployment, which has already been deployed, we deploy now the green deployment. Remember, our target is we want these two sections with the same environment. So we deploy the green deployment, the green environment now. And for the green environment, we are going to take the same thing, kubectl apply -f green deployment.yaml, and then we're going to deploy here, copy, come here, paste. Now look here, we have deployed our blue deployment, we have deployed our green deployment. The next thing is we should deploy our service. Okay, green deployment has been deployed. The next thing now is deploying our service, and here is our service, kubectl, which is our ingress, apply -f service.yaml blue green deployment in that namespace. Now our service being deployed, there will be a load balancer that will be created in our environment. After our service is deployed, there's a load balancer that is going to be created by default. Okay, because here, if you look at the configuration of our service, you will see that our service is exploited by type load balancer. So a load balancer will be created in the cloud, in AWS cloud, that is going to play these functions like this. That's going to play this function of sending traffic either this and here. So this load balancer is going to act with our ingress. Okay, so our load balancer is our ingress is created. Now that our ingress is created, let us see where our ingress is being exposed. So we run kubectl get service -n blue green deployment. This is a command to get your service. So we get our service. Here is our service demo app, is of type load balancer. It has cluster IP, right? Let us reduce it a bit for you to see it clearly. There is an external IP, so this is the external IP which we are going to use to access our ingress from here right down to here. That's what we are going to use in accessing our ingress. And we are being told that our ingress is accessed on port 8080. Look at it here, on port 8080. So if we come here and we paste here, and then we say colon 8080, do we get our ingress? Is the moment of truth. Okay, our application is available and it is deployed and it is blue environment. Okay, our application is in the blue environment, so we have an application running. Take an example. We have this application that has been running, and our application is displaying blue coloration to individuals, and then all of a sudden there is a demand that this application should be updated. This application should be updated, and instead of showing the blue environment, the application should instead be showing a green environment. What are we going to do? And they want this update to occur without any downtime. Okay, they want this update to occur without any downtime. So the code that we have for this application is a code that shows only green deployment. We do not have a code that shows only blue deployment. We do not have a code that shows green deployment. So we have to create a code again that shows green deployment. Okay, create that code, dockerize it, and then send it again to Docker Hub and then deploy it. Okay, thank God we have already created two environments. We have created two environments. We have created a blue environment, and then we have created the green environment. So we are going to create another code with an application version 2. Now is going to be the green version, okay, that we will be deployed in the green environment. Okay, so let us go ahead and create our green environment. So we go back to our Docker machine. We go back to our Docker machine and sudo su, and we have to cd to home Ubuntu before we can see our project, and then we cd to our project and then ls. So right now we are finished with the blue deployment. Let's go now to cd to the green deployment, to the green. Now ls here, there is nothing here. So the first thing that we are going to do here is we are going to create the green .html code, right? We create a green.html code. So where is the green.html code? I have the green.html code here. Let me open the code for you. Here's the green.html code. I copy the green.html code, copy, and then I paste here. And then I save and quit, and then I run ls. So I have the green.html code. Then I create the Docker file for the green Docker file. Now for the green, remember I am creating the Docker file this time for the green. So for the Docker file for the green, green.html, if I copy this Docker file up here, we have a Docker file up here. If I copy this Docker file up here, copy, and I paste here, will it do the job? That's the question. It will not do the job because it will not see the green deployment file, because this Docker file is asking it to copy instead the blue.html file. So in order to copy the green.html file, you have to change this to green.html file. So this Docker file is going to copy now from the green.html file to the same location, and it's going to expose at 8080, no qualms. So I save that. Now I run ls. what do I have? I have a Docker file, I have a green.html. So I can use this Docker file and build my green.html image, right? So how am I going to do that? I just run docker build -t. The image name is display, right? Version display. Now we are giving green underscore version 2.0, right? That is how to build a Docker file, a Docker image. Please, we got, what did we do? Successfully built. Let's run ls docker image ls. Okay, we have a green version 2, there's a display blue version 1, and then there's a display green version 2.0. okay, now after having built the image, the next thing is to tag the image. We have to tag the image. So docker image tag, right? We give the name of the image, which is display colon green underscore version 2.0, right? And then we give now the name of the repository, which is clemerance / cube project colon green underscore version 2.0, right? At this moment we have tagged the image. The image has been tagged. If we run docker image ls, we'll discover that we have now two image, clemerance / cube project green, tagged green, and clemerance / cube project blue, tagged blue. So we can push now clemerance / cube project green to our Docker hub. So let's run docker push clemerance / cube project and then colon green underscore version 1 version 2.0, right? And since they had already pushed some versions of that image, say it already exists, so the image has been pushed. Now that the image has been pushed, let's go to our Docker hub and check whether the image truly has been pushed. This is our Docker hub. Let us refresh it. Go to our repository. Go to our repository and we see that there is a second image now. We had the first image, which was blue version 1.0. The second image now is green version 2.0. So we click on green version 2.0 and then we copy the image directory from here, and then we take this image directory, copy it from here, and then we come back to our machine. Remember that we have ls here. We have this green deployment. We have to configure now this green deployment and make sure that we edit that image tag. So if we come now here, we say v green deployment dot yaml, and then we enter here, and then we eliminate this, and then we paste now the application image directory, which is now the green version. We save and we quit. Now remember that presently that our application is pointing on the blue environment. It is pointing on the blue environment. So how can we change our application to make it point now on the green environment that we have just updated? So in order to change our application to make it point on the green environment, let us open our ingress. vservice.yaml, and in our ingress, all we need to do is, we are seeing that our application is pointing on the environment blue, so we just need to change this environment blue to environment green, right? We save, and then we run we apply our ingress again, which the command is kubectl apply -service, that we apply our ingress again. When our ingress will be updated, configured, updated, we just need to come now here. Our application is showing green deployment, and it are available through this particular load balancer. We refresh. We just need to refresh our application. And our application will transform to our green deployment. Okay, have we deployed our green deployment? We have not yet deployed our green deployment. Let us deploy it. We just updated it without deploying it. Yep. So we updated our green deployment, but we have not yet deployed it. So let us deploy it now. kubectl apply -f green deployment -n blue green deployment. kubectl apply -f green deployment -n blue green deployment. Cool. Okay, green deployment. Oh, they say green deployment does not exist. Green deployment.yaml. Pardon my bad. .yaml. Okay, it has been deployed now. So we are sure that if we refresh now, we are going to see a green environment. Okay, our application is working now very well. So people who said they were tired of the blue environment, we have brought a green environment now to them. Okay, so if we want to do updates, we can do updates without anybody ever seeing the downtime of this application. Okay, nobody will ever understand that this application was updated. Why did we do that? We simply just come to we simply just open our service. When we open our service, this is where the magic lies. Okay, this is where the magic lies. I've configured everything that I can only change this one to environment blue. Okay, and I apply, and I run my service. I apply my service, and you that is here, you are there working, you don't know what is happening, but by one moment you will want to refresh, you will discover that your environment will change. Okay, our environment, let me see, has it changed? Service configured to blue. Let's see what is happening here. Environment blue. Yep. Okay. And then where is the blue environment? We have kubectl hyphen f kubectl apply hyphen f blue environment, blue deployment dot yaml hyphen n blue green deployment. On change, yeah, I was expecting that. So it changes to blue. Okay, so that is how we roll with blue green deployment. So you'll be working with your blue environment, or consider the blue environment as the legacy environment, that is the old environment, and then when a new update comes, they will just deploy the new update and change the service environment, and the update will be updated. They will do everything, push it to Docker Hub, right? So in your Docker Hub, in your repository of Docker Hub, you will see all the versions of the applications that you have been using. This one is blue version 1, green version 2, blue version 2, green version 3. All just you give you a nomenclature on with respect to the various environment. Okay, so the environments are different. You can just be increasing your versions of your application. So that is how blue green is achieved using Kubernetes. I hope you are able to understand this. Practice more. I'll grant you all the access to the files that I have used for you to practice. Understand what you are doing. Understanding is a key. When you understand what you are doing, it is more interesting to explain, and you can be able to challenge any interviewer that you know exactly what you are talking about. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you enjoyed the training. I try as much as possible to bring down things to the basics. If you could not understand anything, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll see how we can go about explaining what you did not understand. Thank you guys very much. Practice and practice all the times. See you in our next video. Goodbye.